Howard Gardner is an American developmental psychologist and a research professor of cognition and education at the Harvard Graduate School of Education at Harvard University. He has written hundreds of research articles and 30 books that have been translated into more than 30 languages. He is best known for his theory of multiple intelligences, as outlined in his 1983 book, Frames of Mind: The Theory of Multiple Intelligences. The idea of multiple intelligences comes out of psychology. It's a theory that was developed to document the fact that human beings have very different kinds of intellectual strengths and that these strengths are very important in how children learn and how people represent things in their minds, and then how people use them in order to show what it is that they've comprehended.
If we all had exactly the same kind of mind and there was only one kind of intelligence, then we could teach everybody the same thing in the same way and assess them in the same way, and that would be fair. But once we realize that people have very different kinds of minds, different kinds of strengths, some people are good in thinking spatially, some people are good in thinking language, other people are very logical, other people need to do hands-on, they need to actually explore actively and to try things out. Once we realize that, then an education which treats everybody the same way is actually the most unfair education, because it picks out one kind of mind, which I call the law professor mind, somebody who's very linguistic and logical, and says, if you think like that, great. If you don't think like that, there's no room on the train for you. If we know that one child has a very spatial or visual spatial way of learning, another child has a very hands-on way of learning, a third child likes to ask deep philosophical questions, a fourth child likes stories. We don't have to talk very fast as a teacher. We can actually provide software, we can provide materials, we can provide resources which present material to a child in a way in which the child will find interesting and will be able to use his or her intelligences productively, and to the extent that the technology is interactive, the child will actually be able to show his or her understanding in a way that's comfortable to the child.
One, the linguistic, verbal intelligence. 2, logical, mathematical intelligence. 3, spatial intelligence. 4, bodily kinesthetic intelligence. 5, musical intelligence. 6, interpersonal intelligence. 7, intrapersonal intelligence. 8, naturalistic intelligence. 9, existential intelligence. Number 1, the linguistic, verbal intelligence. This area has to do with words, spoken or written. People with high verbal linguistic intelligence display a facility with words and languages. They are typically good at reading, writing, telling stories and memorizing words along with dates. They tend to learn best by reading, taking notes, listening to lectures, and by discussing and debating about what they have learned. Those with verbal linguistic intelligence learn foreign languages very easily as they have high verbal memory and recall, and an ability to understand and manipulate syntax and structure. They may become lawyers, writers, editors, interpreters, poets, journalists, teachers, politicians, translators, etc. 2, logical, mathematical intelligence. This area has to do with logic, abstractions, reasoning and numbers, and critical thinking. While it is often assumed that those with this intelligence naturally excel in mathematics, chess, computer programming, and other logical or numerical activities, a more accurate definition places less emphasis on traditional mathematical ability and more on reasoning capabilities, recognizing abstract patterns, scientific thinking and investigation, and the ability to perform complex calculations. Careers which suit those with this type of intelligence include engineers, doctors, programmers, scientists. 3, spatial intelligence. This area deals with spatial judgment and the ability to visualize with the mind's eye. Spatial people are considered as picture smart and puzzle solvers, as they are very good at recognizing, using and manipulating patterns and have a good photogenic memory. They have good sense of direction or mapping and eye-hand coordination, which makes them artistically and creatively inclined. Areas which suit those with this type of intelligence include artists, designers, architects, sculptors, artists and mechanics. 4. Bodily, kinesthetic intelligence. The core elements of the bodily kinesthetic intelligence are control of one's bodily motions and the capacity to handle objects skillfully. Gardner elaborates to say that this intelligence also includes a sense of timing, a clear sense of the goal of a physical actions, along with the ability to train responses so they become like reflexes. In theory, people who have bodily kinesthetic intelligence should learn better by involving muscular movement and generally good physical activities such as sports or dance. They often learn best by doing something physically, rather than by reading or hearing about it. Careers that suit those with this intelligence include athletes, pilots, dancers, musicians, actors, surgeons, builders, police officers and soldiers. 5. Musical intelligence. This area has to do with sensitivity to sound, rhythms, tones and music. People with a high musical intelligence normally have good pitch and may even have absolute pitch, and are able to sing, play musical instruments and compose music. Since there is a strong auditory component to this intelligence, those who are strongest in it may learn best via lecture. Language skills are typically highly developed in those whose base intelligence is musical. In addition, they will sometimes use songs or rhythms to learn. They have sensitivity to rhythm, pitch, meter, tone, melody. Careers that suit those with this intelligence include instrumentalists, singers, conductors, disc jockeys, orators, writers and composers. 6. Interpersonal intelligence. This area has to do with interaction with others. Interpersonal intelligence is the ability to understand others. In theory, individuals who have high interpersonal intelligence are characterized by their sensitivity to others' moods, feelings, temperaments and motivation, and their ability to cooperate in order to work as part of a group. Interpersonal intelligence means that you understand what people need to work well. Individuals with this intelligence communicate effectively and empathize easily with others, and may be either leaders or followers. They typically learn best by working with others and often enjoy discussion and debate. Careers that suit those with this intelligence include salespersons, politicians, managers, teachers, counselors and social workers. 7. Interpersonal intelligence. This area has to do with introspective and self-reflective capacities. This refers to having a deep understanding of the self, what your strengths, weaknesses are, what makes you unique. Awareness about self and understanding of our own moods, emotions, fears, motivations, goals and their limitations is associated with this intelligence. They are considered as perfectionists and are mostly introverts, who learn best when left alone with their thoughts. Philosophical and critical thinking is common with this intelligence. Many people with this intelligence are researchers, theorists, authors, psychologists, counselors, philosophers and members of the clergy. 8. Naturalistic intelligence. This type of intelligence was added in 1997 to Gardner's original theory of multiple intelligences. People with this type of intelligence are drawn to their natural environment. They have an affinity towards the natural habitat of plants and animals. The word green thumb is associated with people having naturalistic intelligence as they have the ability to grow and nurture things. They enjoy the company of animals and are good at caring, taming and interacting with them. Some of them are very sensitive to changes in the weather or environment. Naturalistic inclined people mostly choose to be naturalists, conservationists, landscape architects, gardeners, farmers and scientists. They enjoy geology, biology, and other natural sciences. 9. Existential intelligence. This has been valued in every known human culture. cultures devise religious, mystical, or metaphysical systems for dealing with existential issues, and in modern times or in secular settings, aesthetic, philosophical, and scientific works and systems also speak to this ensemble of human needs. Areas which suit those with this type of intelligence include scientists, philosophers, theologians,